Welcome to the Your Child is Your Guide podcast, where we come together and level up in our ability to shift from feeling victim of parenthood to empowered creator, experiencing more connection and peace in parenthood. All things empowered and peaceful parenting in bite-sized chunks so it is easily digested for even the busiest parent. The intention behind this podcast is to provide support that leads to reduced overwhelm, hitting, screaming, chronic negative self-talk, mom guilt, shame, and feeling victim to parenthood and our children's behavior. The intention of this podcast and its episodes is to deconstruct many of the generational thought patterns and cycles in a simple way that leads to us all leaving each episode feeling more free, empowered, and able to handle whatever life throws our way moving forward. I'm your host, Michelle Bowen, author of Your Child is Your Guide and Super Practical, Peaceful, and Empowered Parenting. I am a mother to a 9-year-old little lady, and I am a parent empowerment coach. Today's episode is brought to you by the newest book release, Guided by Grace, Transforming Parenthood Through Inner Peace. Discover the secret to parents experiencing more peace in parenthood. You can get the latest book on Amazon Kindle for 99 cents. If you are a parent who is experiencing hitting, screaming, overwhelm, or mom guilt 1 to 5 times per week, then this will be the best thing you invest 99 cents into in this lifetime. Don't take my word for it. Grab your copy on Kindle for 99 cents. The link is in the podcast notes of today's episode. All right, so a recap of previous episodes, real brief. We are on the same team as our children. It is our choice to parent from that awareness. Usually, when we choose to do that and commit to seeing parenthood from the lens of teamwork, we experience more peace and more connection and more compassion. Again, don't take my word for it. Test it. Try it out if you feel inspired to. Loving our children does not equal spoiling our children. For many years, we've been programmed and conditioned to believe that showing love to our children, picking up the crying child, letting the child lay in bed with you when they are scared, or consoling the child when they're whining or cranky. All of these things we've been conditioned to see as you are spoiling your child. No, love does not spoil. Love does not spoil. Love loves. Recap number 3. Setting the intention to parent peacefully is very humbling. We're not doing it so that we can boost our egos or be seen as amazing parents or win Mother or Father of the Year. If you have the desire to experience more peace in parenthood, it can be very humbling because it's going to bring to the surface all of the thoughts and beliefs and programming that is not in alignment with that intention. And that can bring you to your knees often. So, it's not to boost our ego. We're not doing this to be seen as XYZ. If you have the desire to parent from peace and to experience more peace in parenthood, follow your heart. Just know that if it gets rocky and it feels a little bit difficult at times, that's natural, that's normal. When you want something and you go for it, usually what's going to happen is all of the limited beliefs and limited thought patterns that were preventing you from going for it before are going to come to the surface so that you can look at it, stare at it in its face, and smile and say, you're not holding me back anymore. Okay? Limited thought patterns and programs and conditionings, all of these things we picked up after we're born, they dissolve in our awareness. The more that we are willing to look at them, the less they can run the show and control us. The more we suppress it or project it or ignore it, the more it runs the show from the background. Okay? So we want to be aware of all of these things that are not in alignment with our intention to parent peacefully. Be gentle on yourself as they come up. Don't judge yourself. Don't condemn yourself. Remember that the same patterns and habits you want to let go of are patterns and habits that you were taught and that you learned, if not from family, then from TV, movies, society, the collective consciousness. You picked these things up after you were born. Most of us did not come out the womb saying, hey, I know I'm brand new here. Hi, doctors. But if you could please program me with hitting my child in 20, 30 years. If you could please program me with screaming at the top of my lungs all the time as a parent. Can you go ahead and program me with that now so that when I become a parent in 25 years, 30 years, those programs will be in effect? Like, none of us did that. None of us asked for that. A lot of us were programmed with these patterns. So don't beat yourself up for them. Set your intentions, follow your heart, and just be willing to hold space for all of the stuff that comes to the surface. Be willing to look at it. Over time, you will enjoy the process. It won't feel so devastating to see all the stuff that comes up. You'll be more aware of your power, the power you have in being aware of it, in holding space for it, and knowing that it is just energy that's going to be released, and you'll be able to continue powerfully moving forward, no longer a slave to that energy and to those patterns, okay? Recap number 4, through our awareness, those patterns dissolve. So like I said moments ago, your awareness is powerful. The more you are willing to look within yourself, the more you set yourself free by doing so. And the last recap, instead of hitting our children or arguing with them or having power struggles, we notice those patterns, and through noticing them, those patterns are transformed. And what are they replaced by? The genius inside of you that's right there, right now. You don't have to acquire it from any books or anything. You are brilliant. There is genius. There is infinite intelligence within you, and it's always been there. And there's peace and tons of wisdom, and all of that good stuff is what's going to replace all of the patterns of hitting and screaming and power struggles. Oftentimes the mind can be like, oh my gosh, if I don't spank them right now, they're going to walk all over me, or what am I going to do? We don't know, but it's going to be from a higher frequency and a higher vibration and from a higher intelligence than whatever it was we were doing when we were just mimicking what our parents did or what our grandparents did or what society tells us to do, right? So it's choosing the genius inside of you above all else, right? We've experimented with everything from the past and from what we've learned, and some of us have realized that, hey, that doesn't align with who I'm here to be. Let's try the genius within me. Because you are a genius, you are brilliant. The love and peace within you is brilliant. It is the genius of all geniuses. We just got to give it a shot. We got to give it a chance to run the show. And we do that by no longer draining our energy, by doing things that are not in alignment with who we are here to be. Okay, so even after we unconsciously react towards our children, peace is still the goal. So self-forgiveness, self-compassion, and showing yourself grace and mercy can all become part of your life experience more, because to shame yourself would only be relevant if this was about being somebody who knows everything already and who doesn't have any more expansion or learning available. Right? So on this journey of setting the intention to parent from your peace, particularly in the beginning of this, being on this journey consciously, you may find that you'll have a couple days of, feeling great and experiencing a lot of expansion and compassion in your household. And then boom, something happens and you react unconsciously from a pattern of the past. Okay, this is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. One thing I have always told my client family over the past 4 years is it's a good thing when you react unconsciously. It's not serving you or your parenting goals at all to think otherwise. It's just not. It keeps you in a low vibration. It keeps you in shame and in guilt, which is going to make it more likely for you to act and speak from those lower vibrations, those lower energies. So for you to react unconsciously and to think that you're horrible for doing so is not serving you. Okay. It's a good thing if we're going to go good versus bad, if we're going to see things dualistically in that way, then you reacting unconsciously is a good thing, because it is serving you and helping you get more clear about the fact that you no longer want to do that. And it helps you stretch 2 very important muscles. One is the muscle of self-forgiveness. My self-forgiveness muscle was extremely weak. It was non-existent. When, 12, 13 years ago, my self-forgiveness muscle, I had one, but it was extremely dormant. Okay. It was basically non-existent. But when you start to wake up to the desire to love others, you have to be able to love yourself first, right? You can only really give love to others to the degree that you're giving it yourself. It may look like you're giving love to the world, but if you're not really practicing to cultivate that within yourself, it's only going to be surface. The love you give to others is only going to be as deep and genuine as the love you're giving yourself is, right? So we have 2 muscles that reacting unconsciously towards our children while on the path of intending to parent peacefully and consciously are helping us to stretch. One is the muscle of self-forgiveness, okay? And the second is what I call the TED Talk muscle. So self-forgiveness, because we've been conditioned to believe that we need another to forgive us. The person at your job or your ex or whoever that you might be wanting forgiveness from, or feeling that you need their forgiveness in order for you to feel better about what happened, they might be out playing golf or something, having a good old time at a restaurant with their family, whatever, having a good old time, not even thinking about what happened. Or your child who you feel you need forgiveness from, they might just be on the couch in the living room enjoying their Cheerios, having a good old time watching their show, not even thinking about what happened. Meanwhile, we're over here needing their forgiveness desperately in order to feel free and feel able to move forward. No, forgive yourself. Practice forgiving yourself. That is true power. Practice forgiving yourself. Because if you can't forgive yourself, then even if somebody forgives you, it'll feel good, but it won't really hit. It won't really hit the way that it would if you had already forgiven yourself, right? There still might be shame and guilt. So yeah, they say, I forgive you, Mom. But it's not really going to hit as deeply if you still haven't forgiven yourself. For self-forgiveness is key. Okay. If you want to experience more peace in parenthood consistently, stretching the muscle of self-forgiveness is imperative. And one of the ways we can do that is by starting to fall in love with our unconscious, habitual reactions. Don't beat yourself up over them. Use them to help you stretch your ability to forgive yourself. At first, it might seem superficial. Oh, I forgive myself. You might not really feel it strongly, but just having that intention and acting on it and telling yourself that anything you practice, you get more skilled at. So if the more that you continue to practice speaking to yourself that way, the more deep that practice is going to get, until like 4 or 5 months later, not even that long, it's turned into some super reverent and powerful practice that you have a lot of respect for. That's just between you and you, but it helps you to keep your heart open, and it has a huge impact on you experiencing more peace with yourself and your child. So unconscious reactions are actually helping you in 2 ways, probably more, but for this episode, I'm speaking of 2 ways. Practicing to stretch that self-forgiveness muscle. Okay. This also helps you get more skilled at what I call full circle communication. Okay. And the more that you get skilled at full circle communication with yourself, the more skilled you get at that with your child, and you're able to let go and move on. Full circle communication with yourself, you react unconsciously, but instead of being fragmented self-communication where it's you react unconsciously, you beat yourself up and you leave it at that. It's you react unconsciously, you might beat yourself up for a moment. You're going to intentionally forgive yourself, have the intention to take action and actually speak it out loud or within yourself that you forgive yourself. Then you're going to assess what happened, look at the data from eyes of compassion and curiosity, and then you're going to extract what you learned from it. What did it teach you about yourself? What did it help you know about who you are and who you're not? And then you're going to set a game plan for yourself as to how you want to move forward in that moment next time. Full circle communication. The more skilled you get at doing that with yourself, the more skilled you're going to get at having less fragmented communication with your child and deeper connection through full circle communication. Okay. So reacting unconsciously is helping you to stretch the muscle of self-forgiveness. The second muscle that it's helping you to stretch is what I call the TED Talk muscle, right? So a lot of us super good at giving advice and words of affirmation to others. Like, I don't know about you, but if you look back on your life, even when you were extremely unconscious, you might notice that if you had a friend or a partner or somebody who was feeling down, you probably were very, very skilled at helping them feel better. Words of affirmation, giving good advice. You may have also always wanted to just cheer them up, right? Okay, well, on the path of parenting from your empowered state of being, or from your higher self, or from consciously parenting peacefully, on that particular path, what is going to serve you exponentially is your ability to give yourself those TED Talks, to practice being super skilled at using words of affirmation and giving yourself advice and speaking to yourself optimistically. in moments where you may have been programmed and conditioned to beat yourself up, to shame yourself, or to be very negative towards yourself, right? Beating yourself up presupposes that you were relatively perfect and not supposed to have done what you did. You are learning and growing from experience. We all are. So conceptual knowledge is not going to cut it, right? We learn from experience. What did the experience teach you? When you hit your child, when you screamed at them, what did it teach you? And have some fun going a little bit deeper than it taught me I don't want to hit, I don't want to scream anymore, right? But there might be more. Be willing to look a little bit deeper, because there's so much more than that we can take from those moments, that the more that you look at them and be aware of the things that you notice when you really go deeper within yourself with those questions, it not only breaks you not only experience breakthroughs as far as that is concerned with your child, but those breakthroughs cut through every other area of your life. Because usually those same patterns that set you off with your children are also in your relationship with your intimate partner, in your relationship with your coworkers, in your relationship with yourself. So what did the experience teach you? It taught me I don't want to hit my child anymore. It also taught me that I had a belief running that people are supposed to listen to me and people are supposed to respect me, which is showing me that I really actually want to show myself respect, and I really want to listen to myself more and my intuition more. Thank you, child, for giving me an opportunity to see that I've been begging for the world to listen to me and to acknowledge me, when really what I've really been needing to do is to turn within and listen to myself and respect myself more, and to prioritize my own inner peace. And then you look and you're like, damn, that explains why this happened with George, and that explains why this has been happening in my intimate relationship, right? Let parenthood set you free, not just in the realm of parenthood, okay? Grab the golden nugget and move onward. Life and love is teaching you through the wisdom gained from experience. Parenthood, with all its many triggering opportunities, because they're with us 24/7. And even when they're not with us, we have to, they're with us, basically. Like when you're a parent, it's like, even though my child's not with me right now, they're with me. You're still having to operate in your life in service to them, because you're taking them into consideration with the choices you make, right? So when you have somebody attached to your hip 24/7, that's tons of triggering opportunities, because who else is going to push your buttons like your child? Your child is, partners can do it. But here's the thing about partners. You can leave them. You can break up with them, right? That's what I did. Oh, this is getting, you're forcing me to look at myself. Time to break up. That was a pattern of mine, right? But you can't leave your child. Okay. You can't leave your child. And so also with partners, it's like a lot of times your partners have been conditioned and programmed to tiptoe around your triggers, right? A lot of adults, by the time they're, 25, 30, 40 years old, they've been programmed to tiptoe around your triggers. Your child, they're not doing that, okay? They're not doing that. They don't care if this thing triggered you yesterday. They're not thinking about all that. They're just living life moment to moment, and they're not trying to tiptoe around your triggers, not until they get programmed to, right? Through fear, etc. So that's a huge gift of parenthood. These children, they are pushing those buttons, man. They are pushing the buttons that we need pushed, that we need these buttons pushed. Okay, it's a good thing when these buttons are pushed, because we got to see what we're thinking and what we're believing that's making us believe that we have to leave our peace, that we have to leave this connection that is always here to love and to peace. There is love and peace, blessings that are beaming towards you 24/7. Never stopping, nonstop, unconditional love. But we gotta be willing to look at all the thoughts and all the patterns that we're giving our attention to, that we are believing we have to leave our awareness of this peace that's always here in the moment for. Okay. And our children and the many triggers in parenthood are helping us get more skilled at extracting the data from the experiences where we are screaming or hitting or all that stuff. It's helping us to get very skilled at extracting the data and using it in a way that helps us to create consciously moving forward. So it's not about perfection, and it's not about perfection. It's about intention. What is your intention? Honor that. Focus on that. Let that be your North Star. And in doing so, everything that unfolds will be in service to that in some way, to the degree that you are forgiving and compassionate towards yourself. Okay. So the mind will say, there's so much that the mind will say, right? The mind will say, well, Michelle, if I forgive myself, but I keep on doing it, then I'm not really learning the lesson. Well, if you don't forgive yourself and you keep on doing it, where are we going? And what are we getting? What are we achieving or accomplishing? Right? If we continue to do these things that we don't want to do anymore, and we are not practicing to forgive ourselves, it's just a completely unconscious cycle that keeps on looping over and over again. But when you add the touch of self-forgiveness and practicing forgiving yourself, you sit with it a bit. You be with it. You put your attention and your loving awareness on it, and you mature through that awareness, and you grow and you expand, and you're able to get creative. You're able to then get creative about how you want to handle it moving forward. And the mind will say, oh, but what if I get creative and create a game plan about how I want to handle it moving forward, and then I still hit my child or scream at them again? Then what? These limited thoughts from the mind are coming from pure limitation, instead of being aware that you are worthy of forgiveness 95 billion times a day for the rest of your life and for eternity. The mind is like, I did this already, Michelle. I forgave myself 5 times and I did it again. That's coming from the limited program that says, I should have achieved this already. This should be done. I should already have evolved past this, right? It's coming from this limited frame of mind that says, I only have so much that I can be forgiven for. I've already forgiven myself 5 times, so I'm almost out of self-forgiveness tickets. No, we've been programmed and conditioned to operate that way. You're worthy of practicing self-forgiveness for the rest of your life, and you're worthy of mercy, grace, forgiveness, and compassion forever. Forever. You are worthy of unconditional love forever. You are love at your core. So how could you not be worthy of it? The mind will say, practicing this, talking to myself optimistically after I've reacted unconsciously, Michelle, that's like spoiling myself. I don't deserve that. That's kind of selfish. Is it though? Because if you stay in guilt and shame and keep beating yourself up, you're going to stay in those lower vibrations and lower energies. And then all that you're going to be able to do is act from, think from, and speak from those lower vibrations and energies. And that's all you're going to be able to give to your children, your partner, and yourself. Now, which one is selfish? If we're going to look at this dualistically and see something as selfish and not selfish, from that frame of mind, which one is selfish? To forgive yourself and to be solution oriented and optimistic and create a game plan about how you want to act moving forward, and to get up and move on with your day from the vibration and energy and frequency of love and compassion for yourself and for others? Or to stay in shame and guilt and then to project that more towards others and towards yourself? Which one is going to positively affect your home environment and your children? Choose that one. You and your children are worthy of choosing that one, right? So it's not about perfection, it's about intention. Learning to love the lessons, learning to fall in love with what the unconscious reactions are teaching us, okay? So what the past taught me is that I'm not worthy of forgiveness, self-forgiveness. I'm not worthy of the rewards that come with practicing to speak to myself with words of affirmation and optimistically when I've reacted unconsciously. I am only worthy of, feeling horrible and guilt and shame. I am only worthy of teaching myself through shame and feeling low. But an affirmation is, I am worthy of love, unconditional love. I am worthy of forgiveness now and for eternity. And so are my children. And I'm not just keeping that as an intellectual or conceptual concept. I am practicing to forgive myself and to show compassion to myself more and more each day. And this is helping me to be able to show that to my child and others more and more each day as well. and I am free to parent from my heart and to create my own life and parenting style that feels true for me. So I'm looking forward to being with you guys in the next bite-sized, empowered, and peaceful parenting episode. Bye.